Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
For today's Quran inspiration, inshallah, we're gonna shift the way it's done a little bit. Instead, we're gonna be talking about a theme rather than actually finding a surah or a couple of ayats and then going to the little translation and understanding it. Inshallah, today, as you guys probably guess, it's gonna be about Ramadan. Ramadan's gonna be coming up very soon, in the next even less than 2 weeks now. So there's a certain perspective, a certain way that we should think about it, having that mentality coming in, inshallah. The first thing that I want to bring up, and the main point that I want to hit on today, is that Ramadan itself, we must take advantage of the opportunity and the blessings that it gives. We understand that Ramadan is a fard for us to fast during that month. But in addition for it to being a fard, and whether we like it or not, we have to do it, there's a lot of blessings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us in that month that if we truly understood it, and we understood how much of a difference it can make in our scales, then we would be like one of the biggest losers if we didn't take advantage of that month. Another thing that we hear very commonly is that in Ramadan, Allah in the hadith of Abu Hurairah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleased with him, he said that the Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, when Ramadan begins, the gates of paradise are opened and the gates of hell are closed, and the devils are put in chains. We always hear this, right? We hear that the gates of Wab, the doors of Jannah are open, the doors of Jahannam are closed, and it even adds on to what? The devils, the shaitan, he's chained up, locked up. He can't affect us during this month. But one thing we want to bring to notice is that how come people still do mistakes then during the month of Ramadan? Even though shaitan is locked up, our biggest enemy, our number one opponent, our number one enemy in this life, he's locked up, he can't affect us. How come we still find ourselves making mistakes? The reason why I bring this up is because it will affect our mentality, our perspective when we enter into Ramadan. And also, during the month of Ramadan and leaving Ramadan. The reason why is because in Surah An-Nas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in the last two ayat, من شر الوسواس الخناس من شر الوسواس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. The last three ayat. From the whispers of the slinking prompter, which means the person who comes and whispers to you. من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس, and comes and whispers in your chest, in your heart. But the very last ayat is very important. من الجنة والناس. Of jinn kind and mankind. So your number one enemy during the month of Ramadan, your number one thing that you're going to be facing during Ramadan isn't going to be shaitan anymore. It's your own self, your own nafs, or the other people around you influencing you. That's your number one enemy. The things that you've built, your friends that you have around you, their influences that you see from outside society, those are the things that will be affecting you. And that's something that we can use during the month of Ramadan to reflect upon ourselves, to develop and focus, truly put underdown and focus on ourselves and build ourselves, so that when the month of Ramadan ends, we are ready with ourselves. So at the very minimum, the only test we're getting, inshallah, is from the shaitan. The only one whispering in our heads is shaitan, not ourselves. I mean, think of this as a simple example. You have a top, right? You have the top that spins. You keep spinning it, right? You keep adding more rotation, and then you let it go for like 20 seconds. You're not touching it, but what's happening to the top? It keeps spinning, right? It continues to spin. After you let it go for 20 seconds, then you start spinning it again. This is an example of our life. In the 11 months before Ramadan, shaitan is spinning us around, taking us away from this straight path, spinning us around constantly. And once Ramadan comes, he lets go for a bit. He can't get involved. But what? All the things that you've done wrong, all the habits you've built in yourself, that continues to spin. Those actions carry on. And then by the time end of Ramadan, you're improving yourself, your speed is decreasing a little bit. If you haven't developed yourself during the month of Ramadan and truly want to improve upon yourself, take advantage of the month, and then even past that, continue on later on, if you don't have that mindset, Shaitan's going to pick you back up and start spinning you again. And then the cycle repeats, and repeats, and repeats, and repeats, and repeats for many. And don't get me wrong, the month of Ramadan, it's if a person takes advantage of that month and he himself is going about changing bad habits he had, and sometimes you notice that there are people that, hey, outside of the other months they're doing a bad habit, but during Ramadan they stop themselves. But when Ramadan starts back up again, they repeat it again. Even though that's not ideal, but it should be noted that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them the hasanat, what they did during the month of Ramadan. That is genuine struggle. But in the most ideal nature, in the correct nature is what? The good habits that we build, we keep them. We continue them. And this is the perspective that I want to give. It really is just a genuine, simple reminder. We always think of the month of Ramadan, it's the month of blessed month, and we do need to take advantage. All the hasanats are multiplied by so much we have no knowledge of how much mercy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives during that month. Especially on certain days and nights during that month as well. There's so much blessings, it could completely overwhelm your scale on the right side. Overwhelm your right side of the scale on the Day of Judgment. But what? And we always forget that there's not many tests during Ramadan. Everything's more spiritual, more good. But no, the test that we face is ourselves and the people around us. Shaitan isn't the enemy, it's us and the people around us, the people that we see, the ideas that we still get. من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. From the jinn kind and mankind. And mankind is the main enemy during that. You can look at it from that perspective, but then the perspective that I want everyone here to have is that yes, we will still be facing our nafs, our issues that we face around us, and the ideas that we see are being pushed around us by our friends or the community or whatever society we're in. But take that as an opportunity and say, hey, I don't have to worry about shaitan affecting me at this time, so let me focus really well on building myself up during this month. So once shaitan comes back, I already have 10, 20, 30 layers of defense ready. So subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't just come pick me up and start spinning me again. Inshallah, that's kind of the reminder I want to give today. It is very short, but I do want to keep it short this way. It really is, this is one point, and one point only, that we need to take with us coming into the month of Ramadan, during the month of Ramadan, and continuing after the month of Ramadan. Jazakallah khair for listening. Are there any questions or comments?